It's time for our first pregame show. For those heading up to Oxford getting ready to tailgate, we are going to bring in the mayor of Corinth to talk a little ball.
You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Willis, a 10-year veteran member of the national media and a former Ole Miss staff member. We will bring in Tom Vanderford here in a second to talk Ole Miss versus Georgia State and get you ready for a long day of tailgating. But, man, it is going to be fun. Thank you for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen, and please give us a like, subscribe, and comment on your way out. Today's episode is brought to you by GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. There's many different directions we can go, Tom, and when you look at this game, the offseason's finally over. We finally gotten to it. Georgia State has a couple of Ole Miss running backs. Austin Simmons debuting. The front seven's going to be very good. I think the most interesting storyline from this football game is whether or not Kewan Lacy breaks a long run. If he's electric, like Lane Kiffin said, Kewan Lacy breaking a long run, that would make a ton of sense.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, it would. Now of course, I'm like everybody else. I want to, as we get into week one, I want to look at the depth on the offensive line, because I'm sure if there are any people that would normally be in the rotation that are in, we're not going to see them in this game. So that's one thing that I'm looking forward to. And the front seven, man, it's going to be fun to watch, but I want to see how that secondary reacts. And I want to see how our tight ends do. I know we're a little bit banged up at tight end, or Lane said we were. And, so the offensive line, the tight ends, I know we're going to be great at receiver. I know that our quarterback is very capable if he has tech. And I just want to see another thing I want to see how the quarterback handles adversity. If somebody gets through the line, I want to see if he knows how to check it down, dump it off, all that good stuff. So that's what I'm looking at, man.
Yeah, if you look at the people that I'm looking at in this game, you have Austin Simmons, obviously. You just talked about that. All the questions about Austin, we've covered them over and over for the last 8 months or so. We've covered them all. But I'm interested in Kewan Lacy. He's kind of my pick to click in this football game. Will he break a long run? Will he look a little bit different? I want to see him carry the football as number 5. And Cam Franklin.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this on Friday's show. Cam Franklin plays the most important position on the Ole Miss defensive line other than what Xavion Harris does. What he does allows Suntaran Perkins and Prince Will and everybody to roam free. But that position kind of asks a lot of you. If Cam Franklin can take the next step like he did in fall camp, Ole Miss could be in a very good spot this year, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I want to see Cam. From everything we've heard, he's done wonderful and made a huge jump. So I would like to see it on game day. I'm a big Will Eccles fan. I like what he said in the press conference. He said, we're gonna punch you in the mouth. I like that. I want to see a very physical defensive line, and don't want to see a whole lot of points scored.
Yeah, we were wondering this on yesterday's podcast, and Ole Miss needing continuity in the offensive line because of the injuries they did. I think this is bad news for Georgia State potentially, because that means the starters are going to have to play longer than they probably would have normally. And it could be middle of the fourth quarter and Ole Miss has the starters in, and everybody's like, well, Lane's running it up. No, Lane has to get the continuity because next week is Kentucky. The week after that is Arkansas. It's important that you kind of get out of this game in the best possible situation.
I agree. I mean, it. I can't remember the last time we had two of our first three games that were SEC games. Other than the COVID year, they were all SEC games. But I just, I think he's got to play it smart, just like you said. We got to get these kids ready because Kentucky is supposedly down, but they were down last year and they beat it home. So an SEC team is an SEC team. So we've got two SEC games coming up after this, and we got to kind of make sure we got everything cleaned up in this game.
You know, one thing that I'm looking for, and we hadn't really talked about on the podcast, because one surefire way for people to not watch your video is to talk about the punter and the place kicker. But Ole Miss has, it looks like, a really good punter and place kicker this year, and that's actually a big thing. I remember when Tommy Tuberville was in Oxford, and there was just an assembly line of place kickers trying to find the right guy, trying to find the next guy. They couldn't ever land it. It was one of those things to where when we finally got Jonathan Nichols under David Cutcliffe, we were like, wow, this is amazing. Yeah. Lucas Caneiro made like a 57-yard field goal in the scrimmage the other day. Oscar Bird has hit some boomers. He was an Aussie rules football player, which means he can punt with both feet and he can be extremely accurate with it because he's trained to do it. Right. And Oscar Bird, he's killing the ball too. I think the special teams are in pretty good shape.
I agree. I know, I don't know how many folks, I'm sure most of them by now have watched the season first episode, but he was interviewing some of the players and he seems like a fun kid too. So that's good. I'm talking about Bird.
Yeah. Oscar Bird, it seems like every kid from Australia has a good sense of humor that comes over here. I don't know if that means we're not doing it right, but yeah, they tend to have a really good sense of humor.
Yeah, they do.
So when we come back, we are going to talk about the games a little bit later on today around the SEC, what's going on. We'll talk to the Mayor Corinth about that. If you're heading up to Oxford for tailgating, please be careful heading that direction. And I would give a traffic report, but this isn't a live podcast. So we'll see exactly what's up with that. So stick around. We'll be back with Tom Vanderford in just a second. But first, I do want to let you know college football is back. I could not be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, there's just nothing like it. But let's be real about this. Actually getting tickets to games can feel like more of a battle than the game itself. Endless queues, hidden fees, prices jumping at checkout. That's why I use GameTime, the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. The easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. I pulled up GameTime and just hit a couple of taps, and all of a sudden, amazing deals everywhere. I'm talking about getting into the Ole Miss Georgia State game for as low as $21. How about that news? So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, promo code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download GameTime today. We also have an important request. Locked On wants to hear from you. We've put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and make your favorite podcast even better. It is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't, and answer questions about our advertising. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. Everyone who completes a survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, that's Locked On College, lockedonpodcast.com/survey. You can also find the link down in the show notes below. Thanks for helping us out there. Hey, Locked On Ole Miss fans, are you still paying full price for gas? Stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app at the App Store or the Google Play right now to start earning cash at the pump today. Use my limited time promo code It's really creative, everybody. Football to get an extra 25 cents back per gallon to help on your first fill up. You can make up to $300 a year just by buying the gas that you already needed. At first, I thought this was too good to be true, but it is totally legit. Real people are getting paid just to make daily commutes, and you can too. Plus, you can cash out at any time from your bank account or PayPal, an e-gift card, or Amazon or other brands. Don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app today by using my limited promo code football for a limited 25% or 25 cents off per gallon. That's promo code football. Offers vary by location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. So, Tom, one thing that's interesting, I had David Schultz on my show, and he is the Locked On Sunbelt person, so he's always talking about Sunbelt football. He thinks that Southern Miss has a real chance to beat Mississippi State today.
You know, I've been telling some folks at work, you know, I'm an engineer. I've worked with a lot of state people, and some of them are nervous as well. They put together a good roster down at Southern Miss for their first year. So, I'm going to be watching that game. I think it's 11 noonish, and see how that goes.
The funny thing about that game, and this is where I think that could be Mississippi State's saving grace. I do think they're going to be a little bit better this year.
Yeah.
But their saving grace could be that it takes a little bit of time for Southern Mississippi to gel. It might look like the 2008 version to where it takes 4 or 5 games to kind of click in and understand what's going on. Mississippi State could be the beneficiary of that. If you look at other upsets around the conference on Saturday, I mean, Tennessee at Syracuse, or Tennessee versus Syracuse in Atlanta. Tennessee might be a 13-point favorite, but that's not a game that I necessarily feel great about. Alabama could be in the midst of a brick bowl going to Tallahassee. Don't forget about noon, Texas and Ohio State, LSU at Clemson. This could be a day to where SEC haters are in heaven. And Ole Miss is sitting there and looking down at everybody going, okay.
That's very much a possibility. You know, Alabama, they've been saying this week they've got their DB is playing wide receiver and has taken reps at quarterback. So that, you know, and I never saw anything super great from Ty Simpson. So we'll have to wait and see. We all know Brian Kelly's record on opening games, and it is in Death Valley. Yep. And so
which Death Valley? Clemson's Death Valley.
The real one. Clemson, South Carolina. Yeah, everybody knows what I feel about LSU. But anyway, and Tennessee, like you said, Tennessee and Syracuse. Now, Syracuse people seem to think they've got a good shot in this game. So we'll see.
The one that thinks they have a really good shot in the game is the Virginia Tech people. On Sunday, they're going to play the South Carolina Gamecocks. Everybody thinks they have a shot against the big bad SEC right now, which the reality of the situation is the quarterback situation in the SEC, it's all young quarterbacks.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're going to get. And because of that, and because of NIL and because of all that, other teams have caught up. That's just the way it is. What has made Ole Miss more competitive is the same thing that other conferences are using to make more competitive.
I agree. I mean, you know, I read somewhere today that State says they've spent $15 million on this football team they have this year. So if that's true,
pesos.
Yeah, exactly. But if that's true, yeah, they should be improved. We'll see.
Yeah, they should be better. I think it was somebody at the Ole Miss Spirit. I don't know which one of the reporters, but they was talking about Mississippi State and saying they're going to be better. They might be 4-8 better, but that's better.
Oh, I agree. I think they'll win 4 or 5 ball games this year. I really do.
All right. What's the most important game this weekend, Saturday, on you're wanting to see besides the Ole Miss game?
Yeah. Okay. I really want to see that Alabama-Florida State game. I mean, Florida State's quarterback is a cocky little sucker. I want to see
Gus Malzahn is the offensive coordinator who has voodoo over Alabama.
I agree. It's just something about it. I want to watch it.
Yeah, that one should be pretty good. I'm interested in Clemson and LSU because I had the squad show on Thursday night and Matt Moscano was on that show. And he mentioned and said if Ole Miss or if LSU played Clemson at the end of the year, they would dog walk them, but they're worried about Clemson winning this time because all the transfers haven't gelled together.
Right.
And I'm not 100% sure. I've seen the reports that they haven't been able to block the defensive line, and the offensive line's not going to get necessarily just instantly better with Peter Woods sitting in front of it.
Oh, exactly. And Clemson always has a really good defense, so it'll be interesting to watch. And of course, I'll go real Tigers from Clemson in that game.
So it should be very, very interesting. Somebody's going to fall. It might be Texas 8-4 against UTSA. That could be the upset of the week. I mean, it's not going to be Oklahoma. It's not going to be Ole Miss. Not going to be Vandy. Vandy's a 35-point favorite in a football game. I never thought I'd see the day.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. But there's so many great games. We finally made it, Tom.
Yep.
And we talked about off-season for 8 months. I went through a surgery. You've recovered from a surgery. I mean, there's been a lot going on over the last 8 months or so, and I'm just grateful that football is finally ready to get played.
Me too, man. This is my favorite part of the year. The temperatures are getting a little bit lower. The leaves are changing colors, and Ole Miss football.
Yeah, the leaves don't change colors here.
Oh,
there are no seasons here, none whatsoever. The cool thing is where I live, one of the rarities is a pine tree. And for those that know me, know that I grew up in the Pine Belt in Mississippi. And so it is pretty cool with that rarity in my front yard. So every now and then there's pine straw that hits the ground. But overall, it's pretty much evergreens around this area. Anyway, what have you got going on besides football this weekend, if anything?
Well, I've got a 4-day weekend, and then of course,
brag
day. Thursday is my retirement day, so they got a little party set up for me with some of the folks at work, and then I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do.
Listen, if your party on your retirement is Thursday is the day that we record your segment, which means Thursday you're going to be pretty excited, I think.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Right before Ole Miss heads off to Kentucky, all of that good stuff. But anyway, thank you very much, Tom. Enjoy all of the games. Everybody that is listening to this, be safe heading up to Oxford, Mississippi for tailgating and all of that stuff. Thank you for making Locked On Ole Miss your go-to source for Ole Miss sports. We pride ourselves on offering the most comprehensive perspectives, which is why we're the front door of Ole Miss. If you don't believe me, search Ole Miss Podcast in Google and see what comes up. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast, like this podcast, comment down below. It helps the show. It's completely free. Your support means the world to us. It's another big moment on Locked On. College football fans, Locked On and Fire TV are presenting College Football Kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview on Thursday. Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12 leads the conversation along two-time AP Coach of the Year Gary Patterson and former college star Jesse Holley on Locked On's Local Expert and Locked On's Local Experts. A college football preview that only Locked On can do. Catch College Football Kickoff every Thursday throughout the season, only on Fire TV. Hotty toddy, everybody. And remember, analytics is just the old English word meaning bad football. We'll see you tomorrow for a little reaction roundtable. We'll talk to you later.